Now let's look at the question of why do we need to manage metadata? This is one of the questions which I come across multiple times. Everybody says, I never thought about metadata. In the last 10 years, 15 years, there are multiple projects which I've done, but I've never stored any metadata. All the projects are successful. All the projects are operational, and they're still running without any issues. Give me one good reason why I should manage metadata. Let's take very, very simple examples to get some clarity on why we need to do it. Can anybody take 30 seconds or pause the video now and take time and tell me what that number is? 123-45-6789. Or can you tell me what this dollar amount is related to? You can give me that it's a serial number, but why are there hyphens? Could the first one be the phone number? It's only 9 digits. Phone number have 10 digits in most of the countries. Then what could this number be? How would you know what this number is? If it is part of a database, then you will have a column name. Column name is your metadata, based on which you'll tell what that is about. So unless somebody puts a context to these numbers, it doesn't make sense, or these are useless. But what is the context? That context itself is metadata. So 123456789 is a social security number. What is a social security number? It's a unique identification number. If you're not aware, this is specifically used for the residents in USA, and a lot of things are related to that. So without me telling you, this is specifically used in USA, and it is something called as a unique identification number, as SSN. It is very difficult to identify what that number is. Now, let's talk about that dollar value here. Again, without knowing the context, without knowing what that is about, you would not be able to comprehend what that is. That is total transactions. It is a currency value that is calculated by combining data from all the transactions from the daily report. There is a report which is called as daily report, which gathers all the transactions, which is calculated based on the currency value, which means this is some stores or some businesses daily transaction value. If you just put these numbers, those are useless. You cannot make anything out of it. But the moment you put some context around them, those make sense. Not 100%, but at least they'll give you an idea to ask further questions. What could be some further questions? For example, this total transaction, you could say, does this transaction involve all the discounts which are considered? And is it already deducted the tax per state? Or are there any rewards which are used by the customers? Does this mean the total transaction amount has calculated all that, and this is what is your transaction value? Or this is the actual transaction value, out of which you have to remove the tax which you should pay to the government, we should remove the discounts, and you should give some reward points, which means your actual total transaction value will be far less than what is shown. The first example is very generic, but it is still data. Even if you're out of the data field, and if you don't know what transaction value, discounts, all those, whichever I'm talking about, which are usually done in a project, if you take the first example, that first example on a day-to-day basis, if you randomly go to somebody and give this number, they do not know what that is, right? You tell them, okay, this is some identification number. Can you figure out? Obviously, if you're in US, the first thing they might guess is saying SSN. If you're in some other place, they might give you something else. But when it comes to the dollar value, it is very difficult to find out what that dollar amount is. Of course, everybody knows it's money, a lot of money, but what is the context behind it? So you need to tell them that. Now you can ask me the question here. Total transactions could be a column name. Then how can you say that it's a currency value that is calculated combining data from all the transactions of a daily report? If you give the same definition and give this value to 3 of your team members, assume you are part of a data team. There is a reporting guy, there is a business analyst, and there is a ETL developer. Give the total transaction definition with this value and ask them to give you their thoughts. You get a list of questions if they are thinking in the right direction, and all of those will be only focused in their area. It is not a combined solution of what it could be from the enterprise point of view. The ETL developer might give you saying, okay, this is the total transactions. It is part of a fact table, which is being loaded by so-and-so ETL mapping. Within that mapping, I'm using an aggregation based on the sale. If you give it to the reporting guy, he'll say, okay, we are fetching this from a view. That view is created by a ETL developer. We don't know what logic is used. We'll just connect to that view, pull the data, and show it in the dashboard. If you give it to the business analyst who's unaware of the technicalities of ETL and reporting, would say the sales which happen at the store level are all aggregated by an ETL job and populated in reporting. What kind of aggregation? Is it discounted? Are the tax applicable? All those might be missed, meaning you're not getting the 100% context around it as well. You're getting individual funneled context, which you need to segregate together and make it as a single meaningful metadata. That's what this whole course is about. We'll talk about how you can achieve that, what are the different ways of doing it using a real-time case and a real-time project flow, which is currently happening nowadays.